The cafeteria was loud, filled with laughter, clattering trays, and the chatter of students swapping stories about their weekend. But amidst the noise, a single moment silenced everything for one girl. Emily, a quiet sophomore with books always, clutched to her chest, walked cautiously to her table, hoping to disappear into the crowd like she always tried to. She never wanted attention, and tension was dangerous, but that afternoon, tension found her. As she passed by the table where the notorious troublemakers sat, one of them reached out and yanked hard on her bra strap. The sting of the snap across her skin wasn't the worst part. It was the roar of laughter that followed. The cafeteria erupted with mocking cheers, whistles, and cruel taunts. Emily froze, her face burning red with shame, her eyes stinging. With tears she refused to let fall. For Emily, it wasn't the first time. She had endured whispers in the hallways, books slapped from her hands, and cruel names etched onto bathroom stalls. But this felt different. It felt humiliating. In a way she couldn't escape. She dropped her tray, food splattering across the floor, ran out of the cafeteria as laughter chased after her. What she didn't know was that the entire incident had been captured, every detail on the school's security cameras. That night, Emily sat in her room, trembling as she replayed the humiliation in her mind. Her mom knocked on the door gently, concerned by her silence. When Emily finally broke down and confessed what had happened, her mom's face hardened with both pain and determination. No longer would she let her daughter suffer quietly. The next morning, her mother stormed into the principal's office, demanding action. But at first, the school tried to brush it aside, calling it a prank, suggesting that boys will be boys. That phrase felt like a dagger to Emily. How could something so cruel, so degrading, be reduced to a childish joke? But her mom refused to back down. She asked to see the cafeteria-security footage. The principal hesitated, but eventually the video was pulled up. There it was clear as day. The bullies yanking Emily's bra strap, her flinching in pain, the tray falling, the laughter echoing. The footage wasn't just a prank anymore. It was evidence. The next few days became a whirlwind. The video spread quickly among parents, teachers, and even local authorities. Emily's story hit harder because it wasn't just about a strap being pulled. It was about years of unchecked bullying, about the silence schools often demanded from victims, and about a girl who finally had undeniable proof. The bullies, who had long bragged about being untouchable, suddenly found themselves cornered. Their laughter turned to silence when police officers showed up at school. The charge? Sexual harassment and assault. What they thought was a harmless prank had legal consequences they never imagined. Emily watched from a distance as the boys were let out in handcuffs. For the first time in years, she felt the heavy weight of shame shift from her shoulders to theirs, but the aftermath wasn't simple. Emily faced whispers in the hallway, some students calling her brave, others sneering that she took it too far. The bully's friends tried to intimidate her, spreading rumors, glaring at her during classes. She felt isolated, caught between justice and survival. Some nights, Emily questioned if she had done the right thing. Was it worth the stares, the judgment, the tension in every hallway she walked? But then she remembered the sting of that strap, the mocking laughter, and the way she had once cried herself to sleep thinking nobody cared. Now people cared. Now there was a chance for change. The case went to court, and Emily bravely testified. Her voice shook, but she spoke clearly about the pain, the humiliation, and the scars invisible to everyone but her. Her mom squeezed her hand tightly, reminding her she wasn't alone. The judge's words felt like a breakthrough. When the bullies were sentenced to juvenile detention and required to attend mandatory counseling for sexual misconduct, they weren't just being punished, they were being forced to face the gravity of their actions. For Emily, it wasn't about revenge. It was about justice. Months later, Emily walked into the cafeteria again. The same room where her worst memory had happened now became the place where she discovered her strength. Students watched her differently, not as a victim, but as someone who stood up against what was wrong. She joined a student-led anti-bullying group, using her story to empower others who were too afraid to speak up. Her courage inspired other victims to come forward, to refuse to stay silent. What began as humiliation ended as transformation. The message: bullying isn't a prank. Harassment isn't harmless. Every action has consequences, and silence only protects the abuser. Emily's story reminds us that courage isn't about never being afraid. It's about standing up, even when your voice trembles. And sometimes, the very moment that tries to break you becomes the reason you rise.